Western world continues to welcome a flood of third world immigrants, while Israel is in talks of deporting the entirety of their African immigrant population. January 6 protesters face hefty prison sentences, while BLM rioters are given enormous financial rewards. And the Canadian trucker convoy leaders begin their trial, while the perpetrators of the Indigenous body hoax are let off scot-free. In this week's roundup, we cover the latest in the rules for thee, but not for me saga. And by me, I don't mean me personally, I mean they. Still don't know who they is? Well, they's the thems who convinced all those motherfuckers to put they them in their bio.
I'm a they, not a lady. A they.
Our top story today, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Sunday that he wants Eritrean migrants involved in a violent clash in Tel Aviv to be deported immediately and has ordered a plan to remove all of the country's African migrants.
What happened yesterday crossed a red line. It's a riot. It's bloodshed. These are riots we cannot accept.
The business owners whose livelihoods were shattered during the riot agree that supporters of the Asmara government should have their status reviewed.
Those who support their government over there, what are they doing here in Israel? They should leave. The others who are refugees, there is no problem. We will protect them.
Many Israelis are not unsympathetic to the plight of refugees, but on the evidence of the last 24 hours, many Israelis also believe that those responsible for the kind of damage and vandalism that was seen on Saturday should be deported. The question is, how and to where and how soon?
Yes, the burning question on everyone's mind is where exactly will these violent migrants go? If we've learned anything from history, we can make an educated guess that they'll go to the same place Israel wanted to send them back in 2018 when they struck a deal with the UN to send thousands of African migrants to Western countries. According to this article from NBC News, in April of 2018, Israel canceled a plan to deport African migrants to Africa and reached an agreement with the UN Refugee Agency to send more than 16,000 to Western countries instead. The article goes on to say that the fate of some 37,000 Africans in Israel has posed a moral dilemma for a state founded as a haven for Jews from persecution and a national home. Israel and the UN High Commissioner for Refugees have reached unprecedented understandings for the departure of at least 16,250 migrants to Western nations, the Israeli statement said, without naming the countries. He's right, Israel was founded as a safe haven for Jews, and according to our own laws, the West was founded also as a safe haven for Jews. I really do wonder where all those African migrants ended up, though.
Hi, welcome to Canada. Unaffordable housing is right this way. Hello, welcome to Canada. Inflation's at an all-time high. Yeah, shawarma plates are like 20 bucks. Yeah, I know, yeah. Hello, welcome to Canada. Average cost of a 2-bedroom apartment is $2,700. Nothing's available. Good luck. Yeah, keep going. Hello, welcome to Canada. Our news is censored now. No one really understands fully what that means. It all happened really quick. Yeah. Hi, welcome to Canada. Oh, refugee? Yeah. Here's your blanket and Walmart gift card. Thanks. Have a good one. Yeah. Hello, welcome to Canada. Oh, you're Canadian. Welcome back. Things feel different now. You'll see.
As fun as it is to poke fun at Canada, it really is getting scary up here in the Great White North. We used to be known for our extreme weather and our extreme politeness. Now we're just known for our extremism. For those who missed it, back in 2021, sensational and damning claims were made that mass graves of Indigenous Canadian children were found at former residential schools. The news of what was alleged to be a bloody stain on the legacy of both the Catholic Church and the Canadian government spread around the world faster than coronavirus propaganda. In the minds of an increasingly bigoted and anti-Catholic public, the Catholic Church was yet again caught red-handed in an atrocity against children. As a result, dozens of churches in Canada were burned to the ground, others were vandalized, and Catholics were excoriated by friends and family for belonging to such a damnable organization that could now add mass murder of Indigenous children to its litany of undesirable characteristics. Hit pieces were even written in the mainstream media, labeling anyone who questioned the story dangerous denialists. The story was so sensationalized that Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau demanded that the Pope visit Canada to apologize apologized for the atrocities of the Catholic Church.
I have spoken personally, directly, with His Holiness Pope Francis to impress upon him how important it is, not just that he makes an apology, but that he makes an apology to Indigenous Canadians on Canadian soil. I know that the Catholic Church leadership is looking and very actively engaged in what next steps.
There was just one problem with the story, though. None of it could be proven. That's right, after 2 years of horror stories about the alleged mass graves of Indigenous children at residential schools across Canada, a series of recent excavations at suspected sites has turned up no human remains. Some academics and politicians say it's further evidence that the stories are unproven. The so-called anomalies were first detected using ground-penetrating radar, but on August 18th, Chief Derek Nepanak of Remote Pine Creek Indian Reserve said no remains were found. I don't like to use the word hoax because it's too strong, but there are also too many falsehoods circulating about this issue with no evidence. Jacques Rouillard, a professor in the Department of History at the University of Montreal, told the Post Wednesday, "Wow, hoax is too strong a word for a deliberate plan to paint a giant target on the backs of Catholic Canadians." In fact, according to the mainstream media and our own government, all words seem to be strong, as the response to the lack of findings has been no response at all. Not a peep on the matter from CBC, CTV, or CBS, but when it comes to the leaders of the trucker convoy, an event that harmed no one and consisted of loud noises and bouncy castles, the headlines are bountiful. Convoy leaders' trial will settle criminal question, but debates will rage on. Trial opens for Tamara Litch and Chris Barber in Canada truck protest. Canada's Freedom Convoy truckers go to trial. Freedom Convoy duo faces trial in Ottawa. Here's what the charges mean. Leaders of Canadian trucker protest go on trial. Freedom Convoy trial delves into social media from protests. Mischief managed, Canada's trucker convoy leaders stand trial. And the same goes for those involved in the Great Guided Tour of January 6th. Close to 1,100 people have been arrested in connection with the January 6th attacks, and more than 300 have been incarcerated. Those sentences were spotlighted in all the major media publications this week, as Proud Boys member Enrique Tarrio was sentenced to a whopping 22 years in prison for masterminding a seditious conspiracy aimed at keeping then-President Donald Trump in power. While Tarrio's sentence is the longest so far, prosecutors wanted him to be sentenced to 33 years in prison. Wow! That's a lot of special Freemason number years. Meanwhile, domestic terrorist group Black Lives Matter have received another $4.7 million this week in a class action lawsuit against Denver police for using excessive force during the protests in 2020. The settlement approved on Monday is the second major victory for protesters who have criticized the Denver Police Department's handling of the 2020 demonstrations. In a civil case last year, a jury in federal court in Colorado ordered the Denver authorities to pay $14 million in damages to 12 protesters after finding that police officers had used excessive force against them in 2020. Over 300 people were arrested for the simple act of protesting, Elizabeth Wang, lead attorney, said in a statement that the firm released Monday. The First Amendment does not allow police to clear the streets of protesters simply because they do not agree with their message, Ms. Wang added. Ah yes, the scholars partook in the simple act of protesting. Looks like the new euphemism just dropped. According to Axios, property damage estimates from that simple act of protesting ranged from $1 to $2 billion, the largest in insurance history. That simple act of protesting also led to the death of 18 people. It was actually the first time in history that an expression of disapproval was so powerful it burned people to death and shot them directly in the face. Honestly, if these BLM mother put the same amount of energy into getting a job as they do into playing stupid, they could earn what they're owed in reparations and still have money left over to educate themselves on the difference between a protest and a riot. Alright guys, that's it for me today. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out some other videos from my channel. Also, if you want to support me and this channel, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. I post 2 long-form videos there every month. Alright, see you later. Bye!